Demon Hunters.
Oh, I fucking love that game.
Man,
I adore it.
not gonna lie. Kind of want to build a Grey Knights army now.
You've
Yeah,
said
It's
that
like
yeah,
before.
it's real persuasive.
You've done this before. You've played this game before.
yeah,
You've said this exactly before, and you even started painting a Granite Army before.
yeah.
They don't play the way you want them to.
You've done all of these things before.
Well, okay. That was last edition. We had a psychic phase. We don't have that
Yeah.
anymore. Grey
Yeah.
Knight's way easier now.
Yeah,
Gray
psychics are
Knights,
just bullets
Gray
and
Knights
shit.
are actually pretty. They're fun to play, man. They, if you let me caveat that, if you want to put an, I mean, it's an elite army, obviously,
Yeah.
but if you like puzzles, that's what Gray Knights is now. It's a puzzle.
I've
It's
played against it enough in competition now to where like I know what they do and everything.
Mhm.
And it's like you can't just beat your face against the wall and win. You gotta make
No,
good decisions and everything.
no,
But
you have to make good decisions. And then what I enjoy about the army, honestly, now, I mean, I've always liked Grey Knights, but the way they play now is it's a puzzle. It's like a chess puzzle, right? Like
You
here
got
are
to
the
figure out how to move your
positions.
pieces. Yeah.
How are you going to do this and get? And they tell you, when in the chess puzzle, this is mate in 6 moves, and then you're like trying to figure it out, right? And that's what Grey Knights play. Because honestly, I don't get engaged in the game until probably the end of turn 3. And then I'm like, okay, this is what I have left on the board. This is the resources I have to work with. This is what they're doing. How do I pull this out? And that's what I enjoy about the army right now.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, I can't wait to see what you do this time, Wyatt. I remember this.
I don't
army.
know. I'm like I'm on the fence. Like I think I just want to get like Castellan Crow and like paint him.
Oh, dude, I would, I can't wait for you to paint Castellan Crow. Like,
He
I'm
looks dope.
sure you would do a ridiculous job.
Well,
Yeah.
they give you Castellan Crow in that video game, and he's like fucking
Yeah.
OP.
Oh, he's
I bet he
almost
is.
broken. He's
Well,
almost
so
broken.
I was surprised. So it's like they give him to you, and all of my dudes are like level 5. They
Uh-huh.
give you Castellan Crow. He's level 20.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just
He's a
rolls up and
boss.
he's like, yo, I'm the greatest of all time. I'm just gonna like one turn this great unclean one. Like
He's a boss. He's really good. I really adore that game because one of my favorite computer games of all time is
XCOM.
XCOM.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is XCOM with Grey Knights. The only critique I have about it is, and you're going to hear me say this tonight too, Death Guard is my least favorite Chaos faction.
Mm.
Ooh.
Like I don't like Nurgle. I just think it's kind of dumb.
That's how we feel about. That's how me and Wyatt feel about Tyranids most of the time. That's a hot
So
take
I
that a lot of
just,
people don't agree with.
I'm like, even in like, oh, I'm trying to remember the Dark Imperium trilogy, right? That came out where Robute fought Mortarion.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, the
It
book.
was a great series, a great book. It would have been better if it wasn't Nurgle. If it was like any other Chaos faction, it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But it was Nurgle, and they're doing, there was one part where this like great unclean one's like trying to summon this other little demon that he's gonna implant in a guy to spy on what they're doing, and he's like singing a song and everything. And I listened to that one on an audiobook,
Yeah,
and
they're ridiculous.
I felt sorry for the narrator. I was like, bro, like you earned your pay that day.
Part of me likes the Nurgle is like the silly chaos faction. Like I can get down with that sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I can get down with orcs being kind of just goofy. Um, but the Nurgle, I just am
No,
like,
I
nah.
agree. Like Nurgle, though I like the Death Guard, I've always have. They didn't get like truly badass until they got their big revamp for what, like,
Yeah.
8th or 9th, whatever it was. That's when they finally got like really sick and their models started looking dope and everything, right? Like instead of like little goofballs. But
Yeah. And then those Space Wolves used to suffer from the same thing until Abnett did Prospero Burns. The Space Wolves were all kind of goofy. If you remember the William King books,
Yep.
they were good books. I mean, they were well written and everything like that, but they were nothing more than like raucous horn, like Vikings in space, but not the scary Vikings from the History Channel.
Like
But
asterisk and obelix.
yeah, they were the Vikings that have like cow horns on their helmet. You know what I mean? And they're just goofballs and like drinking a lot and eating a ton. Um, and that was kind of it. And then luckily, Dan Abnett saw the 13th Warrior or Red Eaters of the Dead, one of the two, and brought that noise to the Space Wolves, to the route, and all of a sudden they were just like amazeballs. They were scary. They were
All
just
right.
like, I don't want to meet a Space Wolf anymore. Like they're terrifying.
Shout out to chat, 40K Sue in chat, Recoil in chat. All right, let's get this thing started. Got the show notes. Thank you, Rob.
I didn't write those.
Oh man.
I lost the Zoom call. There it is. Let me get Restream open real quick.
Mm.
Oh, you used my title. All right. This is the Long War. I'm Rob Bear, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Ken Boucher, Wyatt Turk, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yeah, what's up?
I got
Greetings and
confused.
felicitations.
Oh,
Rob!
No worries, man. It's all good.
I'm gonna mess one up every now and then. It's my lot in life.
I like Rob's more warm and classy lighting scheme he's got going on today.
Yeah.
What it is I don't have time to redo all the LEDs in all those cases, so they don't flicker. So I just bought some like
Mood light looks good.
Some heat lamps.
Yeah, some heat
heat lamps on Amazon, as we all know they are, right? They have a real warm glow to them. Very sunlight.
Thank you. It feels great in here. Getting some real terrarium vibes.
Yep, of rich mahogany.
I got confused because Haspel was in a different spot on the Brady Bunch grid.
On the Brady Bunch, yeah.
Yeah, so
speaking of that, how many people, I wonder now, even know what the Brady Bunch is, beyond like the
it's gonna be one of those things that nobody knows about soon.
Yeah. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. It's facts.
That's dark.
Or maybe it'll be like one of those things like how the save symbol is still a floppy disk,
Yeah.
Maybe. I see it more and more often. People like don't know how old something is, or they don't know that like this song that's popular right now is actually like a re-recording of a song from the 70s. So it's like it's weird.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to admit, I recently found out that Fergie did not sing the Milkshake song, and I was shook because it's been a hot like 20 plus years that I thought it was Fergie singing that. And I was like, oh, I heard the real milkshake. I heard the real Milkshake song. My girlfriend was like, it was never Fergie. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I looked it up and I'm like, I've been.
Well, think about this. One of these days, our Anchorman and Step Brothers references aren't going to mean anything to anyone.
Nope.
I mean, they're already getting there.
Right? We're going to be doing this podcast 5 years from now. And people are like, what the fuck are these guys giggling like little idiots about all the time?
I don't know, dude. It's like a new lease on life. Like I can throw out the Mike Hontrip reference, and people actually think that I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They won't know that it's a reference. I can just like.
Just think we're geniuses. We're comic geniuses. So we got I guess a lot has happened. As you guys know, I stay pretty I have blinders on for news until this moment. The show episode, and according to our notes, is Death Guard rumored leaks and the return of the drop pod Jedi, which I don't understand any of these references. What we're talking about. So it sounds like Death Guard got some leaks and something's going on with drop pods, which we're going to talk about tonight. This must be a hot subject if we're going to talk straight about rules right out the gate, or buffs or nerfs or whatever. But we got the crew back
I think
together.
so.
Last week's episode, we had good old Matt Aaron's on. That was great.
Oh yeah.
I got a lot of positive feedback from the community about spotlighting a Renaissance man like that.
Yeah, dude.
So that was fucking fantastic. But with the four of us, let's roll into the Cave of Wonders and touch nothing but the lamp.
Would you rather never be able to talk to women again, or never be able to talk to men again?
How about never being able to talk to people again?
You gotta choose. You gotta choose one.
Let's choose women or men.
And what do you mean by talk? Like you can't communicate at all,
Verbally, yeah, like
or just
in
verbally?
person, yeah,
Can I understand them?
yeah. You just can't talk back to them.
But you can like use a different means of communication.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd pick women probably.
Yeah. I mean, like
I
99%.
don't even talk to women.
99% of my friends are men, so this podcast just falls apart. You know what I mean? It's just statistics at this point, right? It's gonna get awkward though, not being able to talk to my lady.
Well, you
I
can
don't know.
message her.
It's the hard choice, right? Is got a lot of listeners that are married.
Do
Yeah. I just message her.
if I
Just
moved
be like-
if I moved to Thailand,
How do you think she'll feel about that?
I'll explain the situation. I'll be like, "It's the genie did it.
Yeah.
It's not my fault."
Sorry.
how does a genie feel about Thailand?
I mean,
That's
Is it
we're
my
not going to
perce-
go.
Is it
We're
my
not going to go
perception?
too far out into the weeds.
Is it my
but
perception that changes the magic, or is it
Oh.
straight math?
I don't think we should talk about that.
The
I got a
genie
tr-
will know.
I got a
The
trip
genie will
coming
know.
up. Is all I'm saying.
We'll just say that. We'll say the genie will know.
The
And he
genie
will. He'll figure it out for you.
That's fair. Man, see, you'd have to pick if you were like on the scene trying to date, right? You'd have to just say I'm straight up never gonna date again. Unless you lean into it, learn sign language,
Oh yeah, just gaslight.
and
Great.
just straight up professionally gaslight people.
Always
Yeah.
an option.
It's easy for me right now. But what if like me and my lady broke up and then I had to get back on the scene and I already made my choice?
Mm,
That'd be fucked.
you got to stick with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I have to stick with it. I just have to make my relationship work.
And you could loophole it. You could get weird and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna talk to this sock puppet,"
Oh, I mean, you could try, but I don't know.
but the genie will know.
The genie doesn't like it when you try to game the system.
If you were already insane and you were already doing the sock puppet bit beforehand, yeah, I'm sure he'd be fine.
See, like the genie would know what imaginary gender your sock puppet was, and then that would determine whether or not you could talk to the sock
it.
puppet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Beehole spiders.
No, but like imagine like you were already heavily invested in this mocking bit in your really toxic relationship where you did that. And you just like talk to like your hand or an imaginary person. That was just the normal way. Like, I don't know, Rob, but like if somebody, and I'm talking about Wyatt the whole time, you know what I mean? Like real passive aggressive.
hmm
Mm.
Some people can get away with that because that's just how they talk. We're Eric Quinn says women are smarter. I'm picking them. They'll figure it out.
Mm.
Couple of grunts. All right. Thank you, Wyatt. All right. So, Rob, what do you got for news? I see in the show notes that you didn't
What did I put in there?
You didn't put anything in
It just says news.
It just says news.
Very
I was,
informative.
I was high on peyote when I wrote that.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
We're
Doesn't even
in
make
the
any
spirit
sense.
world.
Yeah, I got news. All right, well, let's start it off. So I do want to talk about tariffs a bit, but we'll save that for last. So Squad Marks has their Imperial Fortress set on pre-order right now. That's the collapsible for storage, reversible, magnetic, Pariah Nexus. He's also got a WTC set, or you can get the one that's both. And then any sort of layout that you want, whether it's the acrylic, the mousepad material, or an MDF, like you want to base it and finish it yourself, whatever. So he's got all those options over there right now. And I think they're saying something about May delivery. All their stuff's still coming in because their magnets aren't the rare earth magnets that are on lockdown right now in China. So no worries there. So check that out if you haven't picked up a set of the Pariah Nexus terrain yet. That might be a good one to pick up because he's got so much variety and so many options there. I do want to talk about board games. We don't talk about board games a whole lot on here, but if you're into Helldivers, there is a board game up right now on Kickstarter with miniatures that, I mean, yeah, they're for the board game, but you can use them for whatever.
That's
right?
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get a little democracy.
Yep.
Some liberty. That'll be awesome. I might have to look for that.
And they got the bug looking dudes on there too. I forget what they're called, but
Terminids.
Terminids. There you go. So that looks good. That was definitely worth mentioning. Another campaign that's up right now, Space Gits, is a dexterity based skirmish game that's loosely based on orcs with a C, not with a K, obviously, because
sorry, I only play strength based board
games. Okay, all right, well,
what does dexterity mean?
Could write.
Does that mean is that like I have to use my hands really fast when I play this game?
Well, sort of. You gotta like stack dice and like throw things, sort
Understood.
of.
So
yeah,
it's like slapjack when we were kids. That's a dexterity card game.
Yes,
sort of, but with like miniatures and bottle caps.
That's why I said card game.
Yeah. So that looks really fun, and that's the I forget his name, but the guy that did Gaslands. This was his big one. He put on a bunch of like free games that he had developed last year, and then now this one he's like, oh, we got minis, we got art, we got rules. Cromlech's got some dedicated stuff. Trenchworks has some stuff that you could pick up too. So there's a lot of different things out there, and Goobertown did a feature on it too if you want to check that out. Army Painter lowered their free shipping threshold, so now it's down to 75 US here in the States, or 60, I believe, euros. So if you're looking to pick something up, or that basically, if you get any two of their paint sets, that they're smaller ones, that basically covers it. Or if you pick up a paint set and like 2 brushes or like some loosies, that gets you there too, pretty much these days. So that's definitely worth mentioning because, well, they're about the only one out there actually lowering their shipping rates these days. So that's cool to see. And Atomic Mass Games announced the Phoenix and Phoenix Unleashed miniatures expansion, as well as a 3-pack. Avalanche, Exodus, and Lady Mastermind are coming out in June. Hopefully, fingers crossed that there isn't any tariff issues, because all their stuff comes out of China. So who knows? And then that's a great little dovetail into tariff talk, because there's been a lot of chatter out there, and everybody, just like we saw with the New York City helicopter crash, everybody's a helicopter expert, everybody's a tariff expert. But the fact of the matter is that it's going to be bad for the game industry, like in general, because none of this stuff is set up to be made in the States, specifically resin. Now, like, we can make plastic, like in general, but to do the stuff to support gaming, it's not really set up. The infrastructure isn't there. And the problem with American companies is that they just don't give a fuck. like plainly put, they don't. And I've had to interface with a lot of them, and it's always like, okay, well, let's get back to you. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. And unless you're like in the space, in the gaming space, you're just not going to get shit done. And that's the sad reality of it. With my, 30 plus years of experience doing things out there, we'll just put it at that. So it's not good. And I think we got 1 to 2 months until we start seeing it reflected in prices. And Games Workshop almost certainly is going to announce a price increase next month, and they're going to do it right at the end of their fiscal year to not really f over their financials and things, and take it on the first of their year, which starts in June, their fiscal year. So just keep in mind, like, and it's not that stuff it's not that stuff we're not going to be able to get stuff. We're just the days of what we valued pricing for things in the hobby is just it's just going to simply go away. Like, things are just going to be more expensive. So, just kind of remember that. Like, and I feel like one of the things, the easiest way to still spend your hobby dollars and help support the infrastructure that's out there is to try to do what you can at your local friendly gaming store. And I say friendly gaming store because it's probably the gaming store that you actually like, and not the gaming store that's full of the people you don't like or the owner you don't like, whatever. Yeah, we all have two in our town, right? um, and because there's going to be a premium on the things that we took for granted. And I've been saying this for years and years and years, especially during the pandemic. I think a lot of us take it for granted just having play space in general, which really isn't a super big thing in Europe. Like, you have to join a club and you have to be part of something to even have that sort of space. And I think it's going to get like that here in the States as margins get tighter. People aren't spending as much. But that being said, I've been privileged enough and fortunate enough, I guess, to have gone through the same exact thing back in 2007 with a company I was working at. And I actually sold one of my companies in the gaming space right around that same time, not because of the recession at the time, but just because of the fact that things all just lined up. Um, and it turns out that gamers generally just, when things like this happen, just want to spend more money on the games that makes them happy, right? Like, they'll go without other things, but they're not going to go out without their games. But the problem is when we can't get the games, or the games are just really kind of priced at a point where everything else has really increased too at the same time. I'm not sure what that means. And I'm not an expert, and I just can draw from inferences and observations I've made over all the years. And 2007 was not like 2025, not in the least bit. So I'm worried about that.
Which is
But
worse?
which is worse?
Yeah.
2025. Because everything, the cost of everything has just gone
Oh
up.
no, I
Whereas
find that interesting. No, I agree with you. I mean, you were a businessman in 2007, doing business and shit. And I just wanted to see what you said, because if
Yeah.
it feels worse. But I was
Oh,
I
it
was a
is
younger
worse.
man. I couldn't.
Yeah. So it's concerning. So I think at the end of the day, just try to spend your hobby dollars where you can and where it makes you happy. And hopefully, there's an as big of an impact on the hobby in general. I talked to one games manufacturer, and he's like, "Hey man, I got enough stuff for 30 days. I don't know what's gonna happen after that." And I'm
Holy
just
shit!
like, that's not good. So, but his what he does and what he sells is something that's on the impacted list. So there really isn't anything you can do about that. So that's just a whole nother animal, which isn't quite as indicative of the hobby in general. Um, so I guess we'll see. It's just kind of a wait and see thing. So just be aware these issues are real. It's not hyperbole. I mean, everything's hyperbole when you read it on Facebook because everybody has an opinion, but it is going to impact the hobby, sadly. Um, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how much, I suppose.
Heard that. All right, let's take a quick commercial break and jump into the meat and potatoes. That's what it says in here. All right, and we're back. Let's talk about. We've got 2 topics: Death Guard and drop pods. So, Wyatt, what's going on with Death Guard?
There's rumblings in the warp and some spicy rumors about what their new army book is going to look like, what their new rules are going to look like. So, um, big thing. Take this with a grain of salt. We're just speculating. We're having a good time. We're not trying to spread misinformation, but some of this stuff seems pretty cool. I'm excited for it. The army itself overall is going to end up being more elite. The words used are similar to Custodes. I don't know how much that's going to be true, if so, because Death Guard have a pretty solid number of units, other than their infantry. So it'd be kind of weird if you had like 15 infantry and one Mythitic Blight Hauler and one PBC, right? Like it's not much of an army unless that stuff gets absolutely juiced. So let's see what happens. Supposedly all the detachments are good. See on that. Units like regular cultists, Terminator Lords, Terminator Sorcerers, they're all getting stripped out. We've already seen one of the new models, which is like a new non-Terminator Lord character, because we've got the like Lord of the Contagion, Lord of Virulence, and
I think his name's
Robkin,
Lord of Poxes.
Lord of Poxes. About to like smack my cat in the face because he's pulling on my
That's a classically
soundproofing.
uninspired GW name for a Death Guard model.
Yeah, like the model looks dope. Like I'm actually really excited for the Lord of Poxes. He looks super cool.
Is he the one with the sword?
Yeah, get the big two-handed broadsword. Um, Supposedly, Mortarion is going to lose his ignore modifiers aura, but points will go up, and they're saying that he should be able to kill like 10 to 12 Marines in a single phase. Uh, Pretty strong, but won't be a must-have. Again, we'll see. One of the spiciest rumors is the Death Shroud Terminators datasheet ability is that they're going to be able to deep strike within 6 inches and still charge.
That's awesome. A lot of people get that shit now.
I mean, I don't think anybody has that other than Index Demons.
No, I mean, I guess I'm still charged. I guess that's the.
Yeah. So like the only two instances that I know of in the entire game is Index Demons
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Greater Demons and Grey Knight's Warping Task Force, but it restricts specifically that you can't do it with Terminators.
Oh,
Well, there's only 3 of them. Ooh, only.
So I mean, we'll see. Like if it's three or six, kind of like they are now, or if they're just going to say you can only ever have 3 in a squad. I mean, like I don't know. Death Shroud are pretty cracked as is. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Blight Lord Terminators supposedly have 2 damage melee and extra strength and AP when shooting within contagion range. Both flavors of Terminator is supposed to be toughness 7 with toughness 6 Plague Marines, which could be really cool.
well, that makes sense. Like, and the way toughness works in this game, like Plague Marine still being toughness 5 is so. It's
Blah.
so
Yeah,
nothing.
like they need to be 6.
Yeah,
Like,
they need to be 6 if you want it to actually mean something.
yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Like this is a cool rule. Like the running joke earlier this week was that like Games Workshop will literally do anything except give Death Guard a 5-0 Feel No Pain again.
Jeez.
So I don't know. We'll see. Like toughness 7 Terminator seems pretty wild.
The -1 damage error was pretty good though.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
that
good.
was
It was
fun.
pretty good.
It was on point.
Let's see. Was this interesting things that have already happened. Heavy Bloat Drone is back on the Death Guard page in the Warhammer web store. That's the Forge World one, right?
Yeah, that guy was an American Express card.
He's cool. I have 2
Yep.
of those. The aforementioned units getting stripped out are missing from the web store. And then I guess there was an article of like Fulgrim versus Mortarion, and
Yeah.
they kind of let slip that he's not going to have his modifier aura anymore.
Oops.
So I don't know. We've been hearing rumblings that the Death Guard Codex is going to be cracked for about a month now. So I'm excited. I'm a big Death Guard fan. I'd love to play them again, have some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So, Haspel, how do you feel about this Death Guard stuff?
I don't like Death Guard.
That's
They're
right.
my least. They're my least favorite Chaos faction.
We were talking about this in the pregame, and we all have one. Like, what specifically about Death Guard irritates you or disappoints you?
They're too goofy, with the little
Aw.
like bouncy little nurglings, and I don't know. They're just
No, I
they're
agree.
kinda
I
silly.
like the more like back in the day. I know I was always a thing I didn't like about it. I just put blinders on. I didn't like the goofy, smiley, like sassiness of that stuff, but I like the deep lore, right? Like the Mortarion lore, the path to Nurgle lore. Because
Mhm.
like he's not like enticing you with like giving you gonorrhea and making your dick fall off. Like who the fuck would pick that guy, right? He it's more like it's like the inexorable will inside of everyone to say like fuck it all, like. And I was like, man, that's deep. So I like that, but I always had to
Mm.
like keep my blinders on to the because remember when they just were like all a guy with a knife in their hand, like remember that?
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
just the dumbest models ever. I was like, man, my Death Card army looks so stupid, but I love it. like, but like now the models look good. Um, they still splice in some of that goofiness. The artwork I think has updated itself.
yeah. I think my beef with the Death Guard is honestly their lore. It's not with the models or their rules or anything.
Mm.
It's
It's,
just
it's just
I
the
don't
least
care.
badass chaos lore for you.
I don't care for their lore.
Yeah.
I just
Wow.
No,
I mean, Corn is very simplistic too, but it's like
no,
it's
I
like
get it.
that's what Corn is what you expect
Mhm.
of chaos.
You
You
expect
know?
a warrior god like that,
Yeah.
and like I will say, like Nurgle does feel a little pigeonholed in when we've got like the psyker guy, the excess guys, and the straight shedding blood guys.
Mhm.
So I see your point. It's just you don't see a lot like they are in the realm of factions that have as much fanatical backing as some of the orc players and some of the Templar players. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's people out there who just love fucking Nurgle, man, and like I'm one of them, guilty, but
Mhm.
I completely understand your position. And these rules are exciting to me. But
Yeah,
not as
they could be utterly terrifying. And I think they blunt how terrifying they could be in the lore.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot
and
of that. Like, uh, I think at the end of the day, there's only like so much you can get away with in
right,
like what
that's
you can
part of it.
publish and stuff without having some kind of like parental advisory
Yeah,
label.
because they
I'm
they got to
honestly
keep all this
like,
stuff
yeah,
Yeah.
PG-13. So
yeah, like I'm surprised they don't have that on some of their books now. Where they're talking about these dudes
yeah,
getting like gruesomely exploded and what have you. But um, yeah, like the whole like disease thing, it's just sort of like they could do a lot with that they kind of haven't. And I don't think they
yeah.
need to necessarily make it like vulgar in a way, but they could do quite a bit more
Well,
with
yeah, yeah. It's like because and Binary Biter brings up Dark Imperium. We were talking about that in the pre-show.
Mhm.
It's like yeah, you could be the most badass warrior, right? And then you catch a cold, but it's not a normal cold. It's from Nurgle, right? And you're done. You're laid low. And I think that's scarier in a lot of ways,
Bro,
right?
you're right. Remember that
But then
movie
I think
Outbreak when we were kids, when we were young?
yeah,
oh yeah, dude.
That movie scared the shit out of me, dude.
I
and
think an
then it
interesting thing they could do is like as like medicine has progressed into the modern age, right? We've discovered that like there's lots of illnesses that aren't necessarily like, oh, I've got the sniffles or my
mhm,
tummy hurts, so I'm gonna throw up. Like depression is a mental illness, right?
mhm,
Like you could have all sorts of all-encompassing like illnesses and maladies and diseases that like Nurgle kind of that would be his purview, right?
right, yeah.
Like what if he was like, okay, so they're like wise to my tricks. What if I just give everybody on this planet like an eating disorder and they all slowly starve to death, right? Like
Or
that's an illness,
gluttony, and they
Yeah.
all just
Yeah,
burst
well,
the seams.
yeah, dude, like there's a lot they could do that could be really interesting,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it is kind of like you guys get like mega flu.
Like
The
if we
mega
got
flu.
if Brandon Sanderson wrote it and it was a magic system and Nurgle was the main character, he would do some fucked up shit with his power set.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Just like you said. Like fuck. So let's talk about drop pods real quick.
Oh man,
So we got some drop pod rumors. And so do
Mhm.
we don't have photographs yet, nothing.
We do.
no,
They put
we
out an
got
article.
pics.
So the flaps are deployed down and they're not closable.
We
Yeah.
don't know if they
Well-
alluded to. They didn't say, but they alluded to that it's a feature that they are down. But what does that mean? And
Yeah, so Kenny, to paint you a picture for people who are listening to this and haven't seen it, it's the same drop pod. It's the same model.
it's bigger.
However, the flaps are down, and then attached to said flaps underneath it is like terrain rubble.
Well, those are different. Those are separate bits too. Like you don't have to attach those.
Man, I hope that's not the yeah. I hope that
Well-
I hope there's closed drop pods because you can't even transport those motherfuckers.
Well, you could if they were two parts, right? If there was like a part that was like a dish that had all the open petals, and then the other part is the cone part, right? And you
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
put the dish down and stack the cone on top of it. That would work.
If they thought about it, yeah. Because you're right.
Like
Also,
the teacup in the saucer.
but also the old
Yeah,
drop pod is
essentially, yeah.
easily top 3 most annoying fucking models to build in the world.
It
and-
never went together right.
And then to the most amount of fucking surface area to paint. If
Mhm.
you wanted to
It was
paint,
a lot.
if you
yeah.
wanted it to actually open and close.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was so preposterous.
But I also remember the shenanigans people would pull saying,
Yep.
"Oh, my drop pods don't open, so you can't shoot through them." So, remember all that
Yeah.
nonsense?
Yeah.
we had a lot of
That-
nonsense.
so-
Drop pod
'cause-
has been. If
yeah.
anybody listening to this show, who's just gotten into the hobby in the last couple of editions,
There's been fist fights.
the drop pods did not used to exist in the game. Then they came out with a Forge World model.
Yes.
The $80 Forge World
Then
model. at the
and it
time.
was really OP, but we didn't. It was not common that Forge World
Mhm.
was part of our game, so it didn't matter. Then one day, GW said, "Fuck it, drop pods." Still, only model existed was the Forge World model, and this wasn't like the old days where we all just can get black market drop pods. So then began the era, and they said like, "Bro, anyone who can get a dedicated transport can get one." Straight up Marines, all Space Marines.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like, oh my just these guys or these guys. No, everyone who can get a transport can get them. It was an option.
Yep.
So then the era of whatever piece of garbage was in your house that kind of looks like a drop pod began. And it was just, tournaments of just whole tables of just wood blocks
Garbage.
spray painted black.
Solo cups.
Solo cup. I mean, like solo cups sprayed in spaceful colors. I mean, bro. And then we got into the intricacies of like, the flaps open, flaps close, and what that means for placement. Because they had the drop pod assault roll, and we had scatter dice, and they were the only thing in the game that you could put anywhere you wanted, no matter what you rolled. They can kind of smash in. You can create these drop pod walls in front of the
Mhm.
people's army, and you just be like, can't see through them because like they're closed. Even though you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
it was the most preposterous era and I remember when you came out with that prototype, that 2-part resin mold of a drop pod.
Yeah,
Like-
I built a drop pod out of I scratch built it out of the escape pod from Star Wars. They had like the little action figures that came with an escape pod, and it was 2 parts. So I took the longer half, made that, and then put fins on it, and it was a drop pod, and it was the right size and looked good and everything. Put some greeblies on it so that it looked 40K, but I didn't have opening doors. So
Yeah,
You're
No,
the drama.
yours was the best one. And someone in chat, Necromancer, said doors are fixed down, while the endlessly fiddly doors that spawned 1,000 arguments about vehicle footprints are now fastened firmly in their open position. Right, like that. So.
Yeah. But what does that mean?
Having a rule, so eventually
mean-
the rule became they're always open no matter how they're modeled.
Right.
That
It's
eventually
pretty
became
cut
the
and
rule.
dry, I think, given the words they used, Rob. Like they specifically call out that they're in the fixed down position, and that they also reference that it used to be an argument, and now there's not going to be an argument. So they're fixed down. There's not going to be arguments.
Maybe they
It's
have to be fixed down to play with it.
yeah,
Like,
sure. I mean, if you want to use it as a terrain piece in your display board with it
I
up,
mean,
like who's the fucking does it
it
matter?
is
But like we're talking about the game rules.
well, sure. With the game rules, yeah. Like, hey, when it's in, you can see through it. I get that part, but like, if they are fixed down for transport, I mean, you're talking a radius
It's
of
so big.
Okay,
it's
so
preposterous.
here's the thing. It kind of doesn't matter because unless they give this drop pod like an insane rule on its data sheet,
It's not popular.
you can't play it
Mm.
with the way that like
Oh yeah, with Prior
footprints and
Nexus.
stuff are like even so not even Pry Nexus, but let's just say like whatever the fuck they call the next GT book, right? We're still gonna be playing these fixed layouts with fixed terrain and all that kind of stuff, and they're so big that there's only gonna be like 3 places on the whole board that it can even fit without having to move models out of the way. So it's like it's either going to
It's a
be
problem
like
that
the most
solves itself
insane
by no
thing
one
they've ever
buying it.
done,
Yeah.
right? Or it's not going to be an issue, right? Like there's a rumor that wherever it comes down, if it touches a piece of terrain, that it destroys the terrain, air quotes. That seems real clickbaity and like kind of off the wall, so I don't believe it out of hand. But let's just say Games Workshop does, right? They're like, that's the data sheet rule. It can come in turn one, and if you put it on a building, the building is destroyed and pulled off of the table. Like now that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But if it's the same drop pod and it's still like 100 points and it can only fit 10 guys, then like nobody's gonna take it anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a problem that literally solved itself. But it's just so wild that they would update this model while no one plays with it. So that we don't
Yeah,
know what the new rules are, and the rumor is that the rules are coming. So
right. They're gonna drop it. They said a data sheet when it drops.
So I kind of feel like in classic GW fashion, it is going to have some wild ass rules.
I mean, it always seems like the shit they're trying to sell or the shit that's new is always good at some level. Like maybe not OP, but good, like playable good, right?
So yes, yeah. So here's the problem I have with drop pods, like mechanically with the way the game works, right?
Mhm.
So it's gonna have to have some insane set of rules because it's either going to be able to move terrain out of the way or pick it up, right?
Mhm.
Or you can't place it basically anywhere once 2 armies are deployed. Two, we have things like infiltrators and scouts. So it's like, let's say you're a Space Marine player and you have your 3 drop pods. You're like, oh, drop pods are super cool. Then come down turn one, whatever. If I'm playing any army that has scout moves or infiltrators, I can just make it to where you can never put those on the table.
Right out the gate, it has to be able to deep strike closer than 9 inches. Right out the gate.
Yeah, like
that has to
it's
be.
gonna ignore something.
This
but
is
then that opens up a
Sure.
door of
It's
like,
not even a discussion if it doesn't
Yeah.
have that rule right out the gate. So we
Yeah.
have to assume it will have that rule, right? Like it will have the rule that allows it to deep strike closer than 9. Right? No
even
charges
then,
is
it's
normal.
gonna be like you can so easily math out like, okay, if I know this thing is like 9.5 inches in diameter, then I've just got to place
Mhm.
2 units.
Oh, you can
of
easily.
infiltrators.
Yeah, so it's gonna have to
like-
be aggressive. It has to be. And Wolfstark said 6 inches. No, it's gonna have to be the aggressive one. It's gonna have to be the 3-inch rule.
It's going to be 3 inches
Has to be.
because that's what they do with everybody else.
Yeah, and also drop
It's
pods
3
used to
inches.
kind of have that. They were the first
Well, the
people.
3-inch doesn't exist anymore, Mike.
But
Oh yeah, that's right. Because it was
So
so busted.
everything that could 3-inch is now 6.
Is now 6.
That's
Yeah.
what we mean by 6.
Yeah, that's right. Damn, 6 isn't enough. 6
I
ain't gonna
haven't
make
been
that.
able to get the new cards, so I don't know. But
Yeah,
I know
that's a
my
recent
Grey
change.
Knights were 3 inches.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it was in a data slate a while back.
Yeah, they
Oh,
said change all
okay.
instances to 3 to 6 because it was too much. But I don't see this. I don't see the 6 being enough for that pie plate.
no, it's
No.
not enough.
Like just
It's
take
not
just
enough.
go take a white like grocery store paper plate and just like
Yeah.
look at that and be like, huh, where the fuck can I put
Yeah.
this? You can't. So it's
Yeah.
gonna it's gonna need a rule, a really aggressive deep strike rule, better than 6 inches to even be considered. So it's gonna we know for sure in the prediction map it's gonna have a rule for that. I don't see in any world where it's gonna move terrain or pick up terrain pieces.
Could they just mean that? Could they have just been meaning it from a fluff standpoint that it destroys the terrain Do you see what I
So
mean?
I think
Like,
that's just a rumor.
I don't know that that's not in the
Article.
article,
Yeah.
right? That's just
oh,
people.
I see. Okay,
It's the
that's just
same
people
type of
speculating.
rumors as
Okay.
the Death Guard rumors, right? People are saying
The
that,
article just says rules are coming.
yeah, because I don't
Right.
like I'd have to like really think about it and kind of map out some stuff.
Well, because you know how
But
they say stuff like a space marine can move through a wall because
oh,
it's
for sure, yeah,
assumed that he just busted through the wall, but in the game he didn't actually break
yeah,
the terrain. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if that's kind of what was inferred, was that if it hits the
maybe
terrain,
you just
it
like
just
move it like you used to. Like I
you
don't
just
know.
no,
It's
you just place it on the terrain and you just assume that it destroyed the terrain, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
okay, sure, yeah.
But you didn't actually remove the whole building. You just place it where it went.
So I want to
But
mention,
again, if the doors are not articulatable, now you've got this paper plate size 9-inch
And it's
thing
just
sitting on an angle, and it's
yeah,
like unplayable. It just
Yeah,
doesn't make
dude.
it.
Off the top of my head,
unplayable, untransportable, on a lot
yeah,
of things.
I don't see a way that this is like not just a massive like blunder on Games Workshop's
Well,
part. Like it's going to be such a waste of money.
Kiara Quinn brought something up, which is interesting because he said maybe it's terrain,
Like
maybe it is
faction
terrain.
terrain. I
like
mean,
faction terrain.
sure.
Like you place almost like a fortress, right? But you place it before the game starts, and then your guys can come out of it.
Oh, there's an
That
interesting one.
that could be a thing.
Could work.
No, or it's like the
Because
old
we have rules kind of like that already with the
Yeah.
monolith. That's what made me
but
like
also the
consider it.
GSC, they used to have the blips, remember? And you couldn't
Yeah,
move within the
yeah.
blips. So there are precedents for like you pre-place or pre-mark the drop pod locations, or they just do place in your deployment step.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, and no one can move within
Well, yeah, you just
engagement
use
range of them or
the
something.
scout or infiltrator rules
Right.
similar to those,
Oh
right?
shit! Remember, drop pods
You
used to
just
come on turn one. Holy shit! I
yeah.
forgot about that.
Mhm.
Half
you
your
just
drop
place
pods
'em.
rounding up were turn one.
Yep.
You just place them, and then your guys can deploy from that point.
There's actually a couple.
That could work.
Yeah, this conversation got interesting
It
suddenly.
would be a lot easier to place them before the game started.
Yeah.
If they dropped before the game started, or in the scout or infiltrate phase, or even turn one and had an aggressive deep strike ignore distance rule and ignored all scramblers, right?
Trying to think about
Oh, because
so
they got the
agent
loot.
what?
They had that rule, inertial
Guidance.
whatever guidance.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
so they would always come down regardless. Like you could
Oh
be like,
yes. Yeah.
you know, they just boop and then they were there.
I was gonna say it might be weird because so Age of Sigmar has faction terrain, and
Yep.
there's rule stipulations around that. Like it can't be on an objective, like like it can't be within the control zone of an objective. It can't be within so many inches of a piece of terrain. So if they implement kind of what you guys are talking about, and they have to keep rules like that, or else everybody could just put a drop pod on the center objective and be like, you're never allowed to touch this objective.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like it could be a fortification that you could then destroy, which is one way of doing it, but pre-game placing of those types of things, like there's rules for that already because fortifications exist.
Right.
So we'd have to look up that rule specifically to see what those restrictions are. In which case, I still think it's highly limiting for something like that.
Yeah. You'd have to update
Mhm.
the season layout just to even think about it.
Which
Like-
might all happen at the same time. Who
which
knows?
might happen at the same time. But
Let
yeah,
me see
actually,
if
I think
can
it's
quickly
interesting.
keyword search it.
You guys actually brought up some really good points, man. Like that
Mhm.
are drop pod lore and game relative, man. Like the spawn point is an interesting ass idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh god.
that's
Of course, I
wild.
can't search.
And that might explain too
fortifications.
why they're coming in a 2-pack, because why else would you need so many?
Yeah, and we have a new season on the horizon, so like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a season of fucking the drop pod, bro. Let's go. Remember that crazy ass drop pod army? It was like, was it Ragnar's drop pod army?
Ragnar's
Yeah.
Brotherhood or something. I
Yeah.
played it. So
It-
like right now, I was complaining to
Yeah,
Kenny
10, right?
before the show. I have 14 drop pods. but not all in one army.
This was
So,
when
but I had 10 drop pods for Space Wolves.
7th edition. We had, what were those books we had? We had like these books that came out that gave us like little detachment rules, but not detachments.
Yeah, it was like it came with, I don't remember the name of it.
What was the
but
name
it
of that,
came with
Rob?
the collectors.
Well, we were getting lots of them. We had Champions of Fenris. We
Yeah,
had like
yeah.
this. We had that. What were those books
Oh
called?
yeah, the like, what do they call those?
The formations.
Campaign? No.
This is before that. Before
No,
formation.
this, yeah, it was like a special little.
His thing was drop pods were free for units. And
Yes.
so we
It was-
figured out. We figured out like how many drop pods can we get, and you're like, got it, 14.
Yeah. Well, I had 10 in that army. My other 4 for different armies. But yeah, so when I saw the thing today that they're like, oh, they're putting out a new drop pod, I was like,
It's slightly bigger.
I was like, yeah, you're slightly pushing, you're like making my entire collection obsolete. But like I was telling Kenny too, it's like that's only for tournament play, right? So
yeah, you don't
it
have
was
to.
like it was like I don't play tournaments anymore. So
Were they just supplements? Is that what they just were?
maybe
think
maybe
so.
that's what it was called. Yeah.
That's what Timothy.
It was
Harvey, the
real
Balkan
small.
said.
It was like maybe 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah.
That's how we got all our spicy shit back then, right? Remember, like the whole Super Friends army was based on using Champions of Fenris
Mhm.
with
Yeah,
where they had different 4-sword charts, and you can do because you can ally. Remember, in 6th and 7th.
it was nuts, man.
Yeah,
It was nuts.
and then a lot of people. That's when formations started rolling out, where we started getting free shit, Gladius,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Bro, yeah, it's wild though. Like the drop pod
Yeah.
could be interesting. I'd like to see what they do.
Could.
Because it was a staple for so many years. I mean, so many wild ass armies. Maybe was it Warzone? Caraquin? Maybe it was the Warzone books. And we
They had some.
yeah, and there was like multiple copies of like which brass scorpion are we using? You know what I mean, shit like that. Like it was the Wild West back then, dude. Shit's so much more streamlined now. Like, you just gotta go to the web. Just go to GW's website and see what the current shit is. You know.
Yeah. Gravity's a Theory says 11 drop pod lists were popular. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't unusual.
Bro, I can think of multiples, bro. Like
I had 10, and I was not like, I wasn't weird.
No.
Like,
Weren't that guy?
I remember like Black Templar, Terminator drop pods was popular. Lysander drop pods was popular. Space Wolves drop pod lists were popular with all the Grey Hunters. And
the only time I was like the weird that guy was when I was the only guy at LVO to bring a plasma obliterator.
That was the sickest shit ever, though. You brought a plasma obliterator with the Vindicari assassin in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was like
So all his special
Straight
rules
up
applied.
sniping.
Yeah, so he was the guy pulling the levers. So like, it was so
nuts.
hilarious, bro. I mean,
But yeah, that list was fun because it turned it removed one turn from the game, is what it did. Because your opponent would be like, "Oh, I'm attacking," and you'd have like 3 dudes on the board, and they just hide, so you don't immediately get tabled, and then turn 2, your whole army comes in on drop pods.
Yeah.
And just wrecks face.
yeah, the drop pods were the playstyle was wild, right? Because it was absolutely a flawless no to play that could not be countered.
Yeah.
And so, right now they're just like a useless artifact, as Wyatt kind of mentioned, of like just utter non-playability. You know?
Yeah.
And how much are they going to charge for these things? 58 a piece.
Well, the current one's $58, and this is gonna come in a 2-pack. So, don't know.
Man, that old busted piece of shit's $58. God damn.
Yeah,
Man, that's bad.
that's bad.
It's bad. Yeah, Tambo says 120.
Could be.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, that's probably not far from the truth.
I mean, there's a precedent for 110. There's a precedent for 115. There's a lot of higher end stuff. I mean, I think the Land Raider's 115 now. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like, yeah, 2 War Dogs are 100, like Wolfsark said.
Yeah.
Yeah, 95 now. Kind of nuts.
Oh, and we're forgetting tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost certainly going to be a price increase announced next month.
180 bucks,
Sadly.
2 drop pods.
Well, now's the time to start stocking those Facebook marketplaces and eBay or trade
Mateo
groups and stuff.
Mateo said it cleanly. He's like rapid egress in turn 1. That could be a deep strike, a drop pod rule. Why?
Yeah, they just blow the hatches.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I've been trying to like look through the rules on fortifications because some stuff is like a keyword that has rules definitions and classifications associated with it. Fortifications apparently doesn't. So I'd
Hmm.
have to look at factions that currently have fortifications, and as far as I can tell, there aren't fortifications that have the infiltrate keyword. So maybe that's possible that they do allow the drop pod to have infiltrate keywords, in which case it becomes part of the infiltrators deploying minigame. Because you can't put fortifications into reserves or strategic reserves.
Mm.
It does clearly call that out. So I guess we'll like just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, like I think like the rapid egress turn 1 might be actually all it needs if it has like a 6-inch deep strike thing.
It depends. I mean, then you still get mechanically into the problem of scout moves and infiltrators being able to
Mm-hmm.
block it out. So like I'm expounding off of Mike's point of like if it's a faction fortification that you just place on the table during like deployment step,
What
uh
precedent do we have to back that?
like
Right,
that
yeah.
might be the only way that it's usable. Um if you can do it as an infiltrator, and then it's like a spawn point for whatever unit you declare in that transport, in which case like kind of follows the transport rules but also the fortification rules. It's weird.
It need a rule that covers the disembarking unit too for the deep strike stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah, like
like
what do you do with them?
Right.
so if it acts as a transport, that gets around that. Like the unit is embarked inside of it, right? So it's like
Oh, and
if
it
you're
counts as moving, so you can't get out and assault.
right. And so like if I tag your fortification with an infiltrator unit, then you would have to make like a desperate escape test when you disembark the unit inside, like that kind of thing. So it's weird. Like, I don't know. It'd have to be really, really cheap, and its rules would have to be really, really good, or else there's just too many issues mechanically with how it works for
Yeah.
me to think it's a good
Just
spend.
from the architecture, right? The architecture is the problem. The
Mm.
Well, yeah, and in like the most basic sense, like if I touch you with a unit, um, a drop pod can't fall back. And so then like nothing could shoot into that combat. You would have to come out and like fight me to get that unit off of that drop pod, which not every army is want to do, you know. Especially if it's like, oh, I'm just gonna like walk forward and touch your drop pod, wrap it with 20 possessed. Now you have to come out and fight my possessed. Like,
you can't shoot the possessed when they're engaged with a vehicle.
no, you can't shoot into ongoing combats. Like if you're a vehicle, you can shoot another monster or vehicle that's engagement range, but you can't shoot infantry that's in engagement range.
Not even if it's so. There's no rule for an immobile. Damn. Oh
Yeah, and it's like
yeah.
I could have to pull up big guns never tire, but big guns never tire may not even cover fortifications.
Dude,
I
I
don't
used
think it
I used to
does.
do that in the last edition, Mike. When I was playing knights, I remember I played someone with drop pods, 2 drop
Oh
pods.
yeah,
He dropped
big
them
guns
in,
never tire doesn't cite fortifications, so you couldn't even shoot the drop pod in combat.
bro. And that's yeah. No, I charged my knight into the drop pod, and instead of using my dope guns, I used his close combat attacks. Didn't blow up the drop pod. He couldn't shoot my knight, and then I just left the combat because knights could leave combats and go. And he was like, "That did not go well." Right? And I was like, "Yeah, this drop pod cost you the game, dude, just because it exists.
Mm-hmm.
Virtue of
Damn.
existence." Yeah. What does drop pod even have a vehicle keyword right now? Yeah, so many game mechanics. This gravity's a theory. Like so many game mechanics just don't really support. So it has to have a whole new set of fucking rules.
I mean, it's almost the same principles of why flyers don't really work right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, flyers are just. We'll see.
But I mean, it looks like I wanna hope that you could still close the doors for transport and just for aesthetics. Like, yeah, okay, fine. They're open for the game. Got it. But like it just makes things so much more silly if you
Bro, it's
can't
actually kind of easy to put a drop pod in where the doors are closed.
Well, yeah, but like I
You
don't
just
know.
like building things with moving parts.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I get it. I just built that stupid fucking War Master Titan. I get it. Everything moves. It was
Mhm.
fun. It was fun. I'm glad he exists, but bruh. Drop pod. Yeah, and I mean, and they sell them in 2 packs, meaning they want you to use more than one, right?
Yes. So they
So,
got high hopes for
so
it.
they got high hopes. What is this? Is my last question to you guys. Why? Why did GW pick the drop pod to make a new model for? What could possibly motivate that?
I mean, unless this is like the last hurrah of drop pods, and they're trying to like, we're gonna run as many drop pod molds on the machine as we can possibly run and sell a whole bunch of them, and then when 11th edition rolls around, it's going to Legends. In which case, man, that's like really shitty of them to do. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they would do that because when you think Space Marines, you think drop pods. Like they're kind of like
So then why?
in all the lore and
Oh, because drop pods are so iconic.
yeah,
Mhm.
they just look cool as
They're
hell.
just iconic that they got to have them in the line.
But I mean, I could also see I don't know. I could also see that there's that they could phase it out. I mean, they've pushed most of what I own to Legends, so why not?
So,
It's a tough one.
so somebody else in chat kind of said so. What Wyatt said, like I think Wolfsark said he thinks they fucked up the machining on the molds, and they're had to tweak it, and they're running new models.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that it's fundamentally different enough. Slightly upscaled. The design is different, and then obviously it has those extra bits that you can put on there. I
is it
mean,
actually a different? I don't think it's different.
it is.
We go to work on.
Karen Quinn says something really eloquent. He says Space Marine 2. That's why they made it.
Well, sure.
Well, yeah, that probably
That's a good. Just a good point.
tracks.
Yeah, that's a fucking solid point.
I mean, I feel like yeah, you can
I
sell a lot of things to
see.
people right now.
I mean, it's
It doesn't have the guns and things
this looks like
underneath.
the same model that they added an additional sprue for.
I mean, it is possible that it is the same.
Is it
But
the
the
same
top is
core?
definitely different.
I mean, this looks like we're going to take the Rhino chassis, we're going to give you an extra sprue of bullshit, and then we're going to sell it as this brand new Sisters of Battle tank. Because like I'm looking at the main fins and like the main body, and like aside from one panel and the interior being different, it's like the same model. Like the doors.
It looks like the exact same model, but
I think I
with
think the fins
doors.
look similar. It's definitely upscaled somewhat. I can't tell you to what degree.
I mean, they don't show it next to any of their models.
Yeah, they do. They show it with
I'm looking at the
Primaris
article
Marines.
right now.
There's a picture of it with
Well,
Marines next to it.
Is there a
the
different
article
article?
didn't have the article didn't even have the full picture with Marines in it to show you the full scale of the pod.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the article. It's labeled "Strike from the Skies" with new and improved
Yeah,
Space Marine drop
don't
pods.
they don't put everything in their articles. They spread it all over social media now.
Yeah, they've got a
Here,
picture
I'll
of
put
it.
it in chat.
I just Googled it. So yeah, it does look
Okay.
wider. So that the spacer makes it look white. It makes it wider, like the new top spacer. I see what you're
And I
saying.
think the back where your shoulder harness is fundamentally different
Yep, and
too.
I'm
Yeah, the
looking. I'm
inside's
looking at an
different.
old one versus a new one. So yeah, it's the same fins, but it's spaced differently. So it is actually wider.
And if I recall correctly, the fins and the pedals come on their own sprue.
It all makes sense now.
So they could maybe, if those are the same, they could reuse those, and they just had to make. I mean, this because it came with like three or four of the doors.
But now it looks like the
Sprues.
doors are literally just designed to lay flat. Like I bet there's not even a back to the door. Like they're designed. It's designed to be a flat base for the model.
Yeah, I mean, like all of our yapping aside, if this is just like some new fortification thing that doesn't really get any extra rules, but it looks cool, like that's fine. I mean, we've kind of seen every fortification release since they started making them the same way of like, that looks neat. And then you look at its rules and you're like, this is unusual garbage. But
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to have in your collection. Like it's cool for like display board purposes. And to that, I'm just like, if that's what it is, fine. But I would never spend $120 on on a set of drop pods that I'm just gonna put on a display board. Like
Yes.
never would I ever do
Truth.
that.
Truth right there.
Yeah, as Wolf Sark just said, like it's scenery, right? Like
Yeah, if
that's
it's
Yeah,
scenery,
so it's like again, that's kind of what I mean. It's like there's got to be some insane thing that we haven't thought of that is going to make these like the hottest item, or they're going to sell like nothing of their stock of these, and it's going to be a huge waste of money.
yeah. If it's literally just a terrain piece to put on your board, I'll be like, okay, but fine, fine. You're right. Preposterous. As unusable garbage in that case. Well,
I don't think they're reusing the sprues. Just looking at
yeah, Wolfsark has a good point. It's not like you're gonna have any inventory to actually buy these.
oh
mm-hmm.
Like,
gosh,
like each store is gonna
zing,
get two, and that's it.
one box.
That'll be their allocation.
Yeah, I
Well, we
mean
got
it'll be
two
like,
boxes, and they're gone.
what's that other thing called? Like the Hammerfall bunker that nobody ever bought ever.
Oh,
So it's,
is that the bunker with the missiles on it?
I mean,
Like the little missile turret thing?
yeah, the
I
little
actually
StarCraft
have one.
bunkers. Okay, well, Mike
Yeah.
Haspel's the only man in the world that
But
bought
I
one.
will have. I haven't built it. It's in the shrink wrap.
It still
Okay.
exists in
Fair point.
Schrodinger's Hammerfall missiles system.
Yeah.
All of the ones on
I
planet
just
Earth
thought
are
it
in a
looked neat.
box.
Yeah, I
I
just
mean, yeah,
literally
it
thought
does
it looked
look
neat.
cool. Like, oh, this is a neat little guy. But it's like nobody's ever used one in a game ever. You know, it's the same with Fire Strike turrets. Like nobody bought those.
Yeah.
Like,
Nope. I also have the Necron rocks, but I haven't built those either, and they're literally like one.
yeah, I know what you're talking
piece.
about. Yeah. Like, how many mech shops have you ever seen an orc player use? Like, not once
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Well,
Sad.
good talk, guys. Drop pods, Death Guard. Shout out to the chat for helping. Haspel, do you have a sick quote to take us out on?
I'm on planet X looking for a dweeb who wears green fatigues. He wears glasses.
Never get these.
I'm gonna throw out a guess and say Buckaroo Banzai.
No, no.
Ah, damn. All right, then I don't know.
It's an old movie. It's the original Stargate.
I was gonna say, is that Stargate, dude? I was gonna
Oh
say that.
man,
If 40K Sue was in chat, she would have been
I
like,
should
Stargate.
know that.
Yeah, Goat Boy got it.
Good old Goat Boy. All right, Wyatt, you want to take us out of here?
Rob?
So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.
Outro screen. Let's get some raids set up.
Huzzah.
Yeah, what are we doing? on? Oh, barely battle ready.
Barely battle ready's on, yeah. See what they're playing. Maybe they got drop heads. Alright. Multi. Oh, Custodians and Grey Knights.
Bet.
What's Custodians and Grey Knights?
Barely battle
that's
ready.
what
That's what they're playing.
Yeah. That's a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's classic.
Haspel, before we get out of here, I have a book recommendation for you.
Oh yeah.
I gotta find my wish list. I haven't read it yet. But it sounds so cool.
I just started Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Never mind.
Hells yeah, dude.
Never mind. Do that for a couple weeks, and then we'll.
And I guess there's like a whole series. So
Yeah, well, book 5 I think just dropped this year.
Oh my god.
Well,
Okay, so I'm
How
gonna
do I
read book
find my
one
wish list?
because I'm way behind on Larry Correa's Saga of the Forgotten Warrior. I need to finish those because I'm actually